Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We were throwing out all of these crazy predictions for what sort of matches we could get at TLC. We thought, maybe Cesaro and Nakamura would get a shot at the tag titles. Maybe Gable and Otis would get a shot at the tag titles. Maybe Big E versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. They just took all of those ideas, they put them in a giant blender, and then spat out the pre-show match where Big E, Daniel Bryan, Chad Gable, and Otis took on King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
It was fine for what it was, and yeah, it just killed all our predictions for possible matches in one fell swoop.
Yeah, it took them all out. But as you say, it was good for what it was. A little 8-minute teaser on the pre-show. Good guys walk off victorious, and Big E gets a little bit of a moment, gets to shine, pins the Intercontinental Champion, and earns himself a title shot on SmackDown straight afterwards. So overall, pretty good day for Big E.
Yep.
But the first match on the actual card, to a surprise of quite a few people, including myself, was a WWE Championship match.
Yeah. Well, I was right, even though I didn't want to be.
You and your sarcastic reverse psychology. How did that work for you?
Well, 2020 works magic, apparently. What can I say? Drew overcome the odds, and he walked out with the title, just as I said he would.
Yeah, I'd like to point out, I also said he'd win, because, Drew McIntyre always going to win, but I gotta say, this was a great match for, the first 20-ish minutes. Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, we knew they'd go well. It wasn't obviously our first pick out of the matches we were presented with, but we knew they were going to put on a great match regardless. And yeah, they did great. And you did call one thing right. You did say the Money in the Bank cash-in would happen.
Well, I called that it wouldn't happen, thus Drew would...
Oh yeah, you and your reverse psychology. I'll rephrase. You thought it was gonna...
Yeah, because it was almost too obvious that the cash-in was going to happen. And if it was going to happen on one of the world titles, it would be this one.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I didn't realize that Miz was an idiot.
Didn't you? I thought we all knew that by now.
Because he took his time after the cash-in, and that cost him grabbing the title.
I gotta be honest. This is a sweet way to cash in on a ladder match, where, in theory, everything the Miz did was great. You cash in, everybody's down, all you have to do is climb it and get it. You don't have to hit anyone with finishes, you don't have to pin anyone, there's no chance of people getting up. All you do is you just cash in, sprint up the ladder, you're fresh, you can bolt up there as quick as possible, you win the title. It was a genius plan.
Unfortunately, there was a 7-foot monster hanging around the ring that he apparently did not pay attention to.
Yeah, and he also kind of forgot the definition of bolting up the ladder and thought that we said saunter up the ladder.
Well, that's because he forgot about the 7-foot monster that was standing outside the ring.
I don't know how you can forget about Omos. He's scary.
Yeah, he's tall enough he could look over the top rope. That is a scary height.
That's a whole lot of nope.
Did he really think that Asuka was just going to let him walk out with the title when his boss is laying in a heap on one side of the ring?
It's a little crazy as well, because he had John Morrison with him. If he just sprinted up the ladder, or if he just put John Morrison... It's like this plan was so well thought out up to the point of handing over the briefcase. It's like they just run out of time to discuss the plan and they were like, we'll just get it on the fly, let's go. It's a casino heist where they knew how to get into the casino, and that was it.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, the briefcase is gone now. And Drew is still WWE champion and will end the year as such.
I think the Miz is still trying to pull off this whole, well, John Morrison handed over the briefcase, therefore it wasn't official business, but yeah, I think you're right. The briefcase gone.
Yeah.
And
Well, if anything, it'll speed run our way to Miz versus Morrison.
yeah. I could potentially see Miz. I don't think Miz will get his briefcase back, but I could see Miz getting maybe a title shot out of it and losing very quickly, potentially because of Morrison, as you say, speed running into that storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. I'll say, I think we know. I think I have a pretty good idea of who might be Drew's Royal Rumble opponent. Then
okay.
why not put him against both of them? Triple threat match.
The old champion against tag team in a triple threat where the tag team turns on each other. Tag old as time.
It's just a straight up triple threat.
Oh, okay. Just tension.
Yeah, let's not have another match where you have the champion facing a tag team that could both become the champion.
Okay. I'm thinking
we've done that. I think we've done that each of the last 2 years, honestly.
Yeah. I'm thinking John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, where it looks like it's 2v1 and the match starts off with a sweet chin music to Triple H's face.
Yeah.
I'm picturing that sort of triple threat.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like. Honestly, that we're probably not going to get anywhere close to that.
No, but we can hope.
Yeah. Also, this was the longest match of the night.
Yeah, both the TLC matches were pretty long. They were over 20 minutes. The Miz added an extra aspect to this one, I think, that pulled it out that little bit longer. And ultimately it was a really good match, even with the Miz stuff. As much as I have gripes about how the Miz could have won the match easy, it's still a really good TLC match.
Yeah, I overread into it because I thought the way they were working on Drew's leg, I thought was setting up the cash-in after the match. Because that's exactly what happened to Randy Orton when Miz cashed in the first time, was he had an injured leg as a result of an attack by Nexus.
You were definitely in the chat going, they're on the leg. They're on the leg. It's going to be a cash-in. You were right. They were on the leg and it was a cash-in. It just, unfortunately for the Miz, was not a successful one.
Nope, he became the first person to have both a successful and unsuccessful cash-in.
Where do you want to go from here? We got some Raw tags, we got some Women's tags, we got SmackDown Women's, we got Universal. Where do you want to
go? Let's go to the Hurt Business, because we spent a long time on that message.
Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, being led by the ever awesome MVP, managed to capture the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yeah. Exactly what needed to happen, and I love that they're playing into this discontent between Cedric and Sheldon right now, because Cedric force tagged himself in for the finish, but in the end, the Hurt Business gained more gold, and they now have control over the United States and the tag titles.
I gotta say, the photos from like Raw and stuff, and their photo shoots afterwards of them with all 3 titles, and especially the photo shoots with the MVP looking like a mob boss, just sitting in front of all of this gold. They look legit.
Yeah, the Hurt Business has been an amazing storyline, the way they built it, and I love the New Day, but it was time to move on. It's time. It was time for them to lose the titles and them to stay out of the title picture for a while.
Take a break. You guys
Yeah.
have done well.
Not, if anything, Xavier Woods versus uh, Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
Just as a difference.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to put the title on Xavier, just something different. And you could have just Kofi and Xavier Woods going off and doing their own thing for a little while. They don't have to be in the tag division anymore.
Yeah, I see no reason why we can't do this. I'm fine with this plan. I'm fine with this plan.
Yeah, and then the Hurt Business do their thing, and we'll see where they go. The obvious thing is that nobody in that faction is going to be the WWE champion.
No.
So this is fine. This is fine to have them holding the secondary championship and the tag titles. Still makes them feel powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this is a good time to go into our entrance theme of the week. Just because we talked about the Hurt Business draping themselves in gold and silver, it seems pretty apt to cut into their entrance theme for you right about now. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. Let's hit the fast forward button because we got some big matches to get through. So let's look at the SmackDown Women's Championship. Up next, Sasha Banks successfully defending against Carmella.
She finally broke her pay-per-view curse.
It's a curse-breaking year.
Yep. What can I say? Sasha is now successfully moving along in her title reign. It was a great match, by the way.
Yeah.
Carmella and Sasha, I think, really brought it. And I really do think that Carmella has nailed this character so well. This is everything that WWE wanted with Emma when they were trying to do the Emelina character.
Mm-hmm.
And then she refused to play it.
I think Carmella definitely fits the role a lot better as well with what she's trying to do here.
But yeah, there's always a role for a stuck-up character like Carmella is here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this is the last time we'll see these two face off for the title. It may be a couple months before Carmella gets another shot. But I do think we will see them again.
Yeah.
That said, I'm not 100% sure on who would be Sasha's next opponent.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of options floating around, so it will be interesting to see who lines up next. We know that with the Raw Women's Champion, there seems to be a lot of people lining up, but they're all lining up sort of sideways to her or adjacent. They're not really lining up for a title shot as such, because it's a really long segue into saying Grady was right, Charlotte returned, and they won the tag titles together.
Yeah. It was a good tag match, too. Yeah, and honestly, Charlotte Flair was probably the only person that could have returned and made it believable that they'd win the tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody else that she could have paired with would have been believable.
Come on, Billie Kay had a good shot. Have you read her resume?
No. So I'm fine. It is what it is. Obviously, Charlotte's come back as a face.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, it does mean we have to deal with a double champion in the division again.
It's always rough. It was always rough.
But now that Jax and Baszler aren't the tag champions anymore, that frees them up to go after Asuka.
Who knows? Triple threat? Triple threat anybody?
I don't know. Actually, I have a pretty good idea. Actually,
Throw out your idea.
well, what's the next pay-per-view?
Royal Rumble.
Shayna Baszler wins the Women's Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And then at the WrestleMania, we finally get the Asuka versus Shayna Baszler match.
I don't hate what you're spitting out, so I'm fine with it. Let's go. We got 2 more matches left, and we got about 10 minutes left on the show. So let's first talk about the TLC match for the WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns taking on Kevin Owens, but really, I should say Roman Reigns and Jey Uso taking on Kevin Owens.
This match was all about Kevin Owens. In one of the most dominant title reigns that Roman Reigns has had, it's all been about making his opponent seem legit. And that's what he did with Jey. That's what happened. Even though it wasn't a title match, that's what the champion versus champion match was at Survivor Series. It was about making the opponent legit. And that's definitely what happened here with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I was utterly shocked is probably the right word at what I was seeing here, because it seemed like in the lead up, Kevin Owens was going to get his butt kicked, and then we come out here and it's 2-on-1 for most of it. Jey did get stretchered off or carried off for a little while, but it was pretty much 2-on-1 the whole way through, and Kevin Owens was holding his own.
He kept coming back for more. And he said he was going to have to be killed before he would falter. And he almost was prophetic in that. Because he went through hell and back to get his hands on the title, but not quite get it. But in the end, thanks to a low blow, he was unable to firmly grasp the title, and then Roman regained what it is.
But we do have a little bit of a second chance, another breather for Kevin Owens because of the way that match ended. There is a steel cage match booked for SmackDown between Reigns and Owens, which will happen. It will air after this show airs, so we'll talk about it next week in terms of the results of that, but I got a feeling we ain't going to be seeing Owens walking out with the Universal Championship. What will we see? I don't quite know yet. And
no. I don't know what we'll see from it, but I don't think even with it, it'll be the end of the feud.
Okay. We're going to keep going.
Yeah, I could see them doing the match again at Rumble.
Why not? One match that might be hard to do again. The Firefly Inferno match between Randy Orton and The Fiend. Because I don't know if The Fiend exists anymore.
Who knows? I will say this. Out of every Inferno match I've ever seen, this was by far the best one I've seen.
I saw this comment on the internet, and I also agree with it. I will note that, but I love the very next comment underneath it, which was, not a very high bar.
Well, I think the reason I think I enjoyed it so much was that they weren't as limited with it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the previous Inferno matches is they just set a ring around the ring itself on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think that really limited what they could do. Because it's not like you could do the spot that they did with the rocking chair.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that in the old style match. In the previous match. Because you couldn't get outside the ring to do that. And I also think it was just such a cool visual seeing the Thunderdome itself on fire.
Yeah. I think there's like a lot of elements that really made this match work. The competitors was one of them. Um, you already know the end if you're listening to this, so having someone like Randy Orton, he's believable in doing everything that he did in that match. Having the Fiend, it's believable that he's a supernatural being and he's going to go and do all this extra stuff as well. You had the Thunderdome looking amazing aesthetically by being on fire with the giant poles of fire. You had the throwbacks to previous encounters, the rocking chairs, the pickaxe, so much stuff there. And ultimately, I guess the thing that people are going to ask questions about, and we've got maybe 5 minutes left in the show to talk about, is that ending, which you also couldn't do on a typical match.
Yeah. I think because it was the Thunderdome, because of all the circumstances with everything that's happened this year, and the elimination of a real crowd, is what really allowed them to do all the stuff that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way that they implement anything even close to what they pulled there with the live crowd. We would have had the same style match we always had. Mm-hmm. Because it would have been the only way to do it safely with the crowd. But with having the crowd being screens, that allowed them to really play up this match.
And allowed us to burn a man.
Yeah, the Fiend was set on fire. The thing that people need to remember is supposedly the Fiend is a supernatural character, which we've seen multiple instances of that. How many times have we seen The Undertaker buried? Or set on fire? Kane buried, set on fire, etc.
Yeah.
We saw Paul Bear get a very concrete crypt. Get left in a meat locker.
A lot of things have happened.
Getting pushed off a flight of stairs, and supposedly killing him. So it's not like these magical characters, them being burnt alive or buried or stuff, doesn't seem to hold for very long.
Yeah.
What I'm going to guess is that we won't see Bray himself for several weeks. I have a real feeling that this is going to be this match that we just saw is leading to another match at WrestleMania.
Okay.
I think Randy Orton versus The Fiend at WrestleMania makes a lot of sense. And I think that's where we're going.
And he got 4 more months?
And what I'm going to guess is that we probably will not see The Fiend until the Royal Rumble. Randy will be dominating in the match. Maybe he's eliminated like 5 or 6 people and he's maybe all alone. And then all of a sudden lights go out. And the next thing you know, The Fiend is in the ring and he pulls Randy out to eliminate him. Mm-hmm. And there you go. Yeah, you go from there to WrestleMania.
Yeah, it all makes sense. I think these guys, if the Raw after showed anything with Alexa's stuff, they're not finished. Despite one of them being caught on fire, they're still going. If Alexa's swing being materialized out of nowhere in the ring showed us anything, the Fiend's magic is still here. There's more to it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely, the story is still evolving. I think that's what I really am excited about, is because we have an idea of this. I think this is where they want to go, and that's always fun when you first pick up on the first signs of this might be a WrestleMania match upcoming. Mm-hmm. And now we have to think, they just did this match. What are they going to do at WrestleMania? Top it.
Yeah. Who knows? Between these two, it could be anything. We could see another Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So I'm excited because I know it'll be great because both guys are great. They have a great chemistry together. So I'm excited for what the future brings between Randy Orton and the Fiend Bray Wyatt.
I think that's a great note to leave us on this week. That's been WWE TLC, and it's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Radio, our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling Radio, and we'll catch you next week.